So, I want to talk about All Quiet on the Western Front. Specifically, this scene. This scene is probably my favorite scene in the movie. And that's saying a lot because there's a lot of amazing scenes in this movie from beginning to end. But this scene stuck out to me as kind of the most one of the most tragic moments and eye-opening moments in the movie for our main protagonist. Our protagonist Paul is a German soldier, a guy who, with his friends, they all wanted to join the army and serve their country, as most young lads do at the time. And they go up against the Russian army. Now, soon they realize that the war isn't all it's cracked up to be. And that's basically the entire journey. That's the entire story. Is finding out the realism of war and seeing those bright, glossy eyes of youth just fade into dull, listless ones. And this scene points it out very tragically. And Paul finds himself trapped in a hole surrounded by Russian enemies. They're running past him, and he's just ducking into the hole. He has no weapons. All he has is a knife. He is almost completely helpless, defenseless. He sees the enemies running past the hole. He's trying to just keep his head down and hope and pray that nobody sees him. Now, he hears a gun cock and he looks up and he sees one of his enemy combatants standing over the hole behind him, pointing their gun at him. Before the Russian can shoot him, an explosion hits and knocks him into the hole with Paul. Paul takes this opportunity to jump on him and he stabs him with a knife 6 times in the chest. Now, then he rolls back over. He tries to, get out of the hole, but he can't because he's still surrounded by enemies. So he's literally stuck in that hole with the guy he just stabbed 6 times. And the guy is the Russian soldier isn't dead. He's dying. He's choking on his blood and slowly withering away. And Paul is sitting there listening to the man he just stabbed die, just in the most agonizing way. And it starts to wear on him, and he just wants it to be over. He grabs a fistful of dirt and shoves it into the guy's mouth just to get him to shut up, just to get him to just hurry up and die. And he still can't get out of the hole. He tries to get out and gets shot at, or bullets whiz by, kind of letting them know that, hey, the enemy's still around. So he sits. He sits and he kind of reflects, and then he sees all of the blood on his hands. He realizes what he's done, and he realizes that he realizes that he doesn't want to be there anymore. He realizes that, oh my God, I just stabbed a man and I have his blood on my hands right now. And he isn't dead. He isn't dead. He's laying next to me. And with this realization comes a sense of remorse, a sense of pity. He looks over at the guy who he just stabbed, and the man is looking at him. Looking at him, still choking on blood and mud in his mouth. Still slowly dying. And Paul becomes really remorseful. And he sees himself in the person he just stabbed. He sees that this man is just a guy like me. He probably showed up on the same pretenses as I did. And so he makes his way over to the guy, and he tries to comfort him. He wipes the blood from his mouth. He even attempts to heal his wounds or patch his wounds, but at this point, it's way too far gone. You know, he tries to help him, and the guy dies eventually. And all Paul can do is look at him and say, I'm sorry. And then he goes into his jacket and pulls out his wallet and finds a picture of the man's wife and daughter. And Paul is grief stricken at this. He just watched, before all of this, he's seen his friends die. And he's seen his friends lose their dreams. And now he sees that he is a part of it. He is one of those people who's taken away somebody else's dreams. It's a pretty poignant moment like that. And that's not even the end of the movie. That's like halfway through the movie where this happens. And it only gets even more deep, even more tragic, even more crazy. But yeah, this movie, I think it won like 4 Oscars, and it definitely deserved every one of them.